Good. So legs are nice and wide. And here we are, and we are just coming back to our rotations. They're familiar for the body. Inhaling up, exhaling around and forward. What I love about yoga is when we feel like we don't have time for it. It's a wonderful time to do it and see how it almost expands the day. Inhaling up, exhaling around and forward. That saying that yoga doesn't take time, it makes time. Inhaling up and exhaling around and forward. Appreciating the sunshine today. So nice. I don't know if you've gone out in it, but it's worth getting a sneak peek after class. So nice. Oh, and just feel yourself land in your body. I wanted to mention there's someone, I'm going to change directions. Inhaling in the center, exhale around the other direction. There's somebody, I'm going to change the drapes here so I can see you. So keep inhaling up to center and exhale around and forward. Someone mentioned at Berkeley Adult School, I think it's called, that there's a class with someone named Kathleen Davis. I don't know what time it is or exactly what it is, but it's about moving chi. And someone said that it was a nice class if anyone has any interest in Berkeley City College. Inhaling up. I just like to pass along things that are sort of movement oriented, and it's so fun to know too that as we move, we're really sort of massaging the circulation in the body. It's helping the body move nutrients and fluids around. It really does help, probably helps our gums. Speaking of our dentistry, curiosities, it's the circulation all through the body helps bring the healing aspects. Inhaling up, so keeping movement in our lives. And exhaling around and forward. And finding an inhale to come up and stay up. And we just take an inhale, exhale. Good, and then I'm just going to draw one leg in and keep the other one nice and extended. Inhale there. So that we have that wonderful exhale to come around over the bent knee and over the horizon and up. Marianne, my teacher, used to say, if you don't know what to do, or if you want to procrastinate, do some yoga. I've wanted to procrastinate a lot this week. And I've been doing a lot of what feels like a lot of concentrated effort toward certain things. But sometimes you just want to do less or do something else. So your yoga is a nice thing to sneak in at that moment. It's also nice to go down several rabbit holes in YouTube and things. But it's also nice to just, do a few rotations.
Go on a walk. Yes, later.
Hi, who's that?
Kathy.
Oh, hi, Kathy. Good to know you're here. I have it on a bigger screen and I can't see everyone. They're little tiny squares. Glad you're here.
Thank you.
Inhaling and exhaling, warming and loosening the muscles in the low back. We were taking a poll, Kathy, about who's going to the dentist and who's going to keep that on pause. And exhale around. And up. And let's change directions. Draw that straight leg in, release the other one out. Inhaling in the center and exhale over the bent knee. And inhaling up and around. Kathy, we also talked about Thanksgiving and we took a vote there and decided we'll just go ahead and have class on Friday next week because it's nice to do our usual things during the holidays. I think keep us grounded. And so anyway, I'll be here. I'm happy to do
you.
something, and you're welcome to come or you're welcome to do what you need to do, but I'll be here. Inhaling up and exhaling around. You know, some people are doing things with family and some people are doing their own thing and quarantining and maybe putting some honey in their hot cocoa and calling it a good day. My friend her son had a birthday. We'll come up to center in Colorado and they were quarantining so she could go visit her mother. Let's draw ourselves into a comfortable seat and take the shoulders around in a circle, inhaling up, exhaling around and down. So for her son's birthday, which fell in that time period, they decided to, she said the big deal of the day was making honey sweet hot cocoa. And that was the birthday cake. And they had a very nice slow day.
Okay.
Throw in some Tai Chi or yoga or something and make it pretty pleasant. Yeah, inhaling up and exhale around and down. Good. And take the shoulders the other direction. Maybe find a spot in nature where there's, you know, availability and not very many people. Somewhere where there's no parking lot works well. Or not much of one. Nowhere with placards indicating big gatherings, and have a nice time in nature is very connecting. Inhaling up and exhale around and down. I have my sewing machine on my dining room table. I might make something out of some batik fabric. We'll see. Inhaling and exhaling. Good. So nice. Just doing our rotations so the body knows it's time to let go. As much as it's willing to let go at the moment. And we don't force that either. Choosing an exhale to let the shoulders come down, stay nice and low and relaxed. Good, and then we inhale. So we have the wonderful exhale to come around to the side and forward with the chin and up, doing rotations with the head. Inhaling and exhaling. You can create your own entertainment too. Sometimes if I eat certain foods, I have a lot of dreams, and that can be very entertaining. If I eat seaweed before bed, it's kind of exciting. Have your own movie going on. Wake up and write something down and get some insights or guidance or just some entertainment. Kind of cool. I had a friend, let's take the head in the other direction. Inhaling up still, exhaling around and forward. I don't know where these stories come from. I think it's a body memory sort of. Anyway, a friend of mine in college, he used to sleep on purpose for only 7 hours at night and then take an hour nap in the afternoon. Continuing with our head rotations here, neck. He would take a nap in the afternoon because he would have very vivid dreams, but only when he took a nap. So he sort of scheduled his day so that he would get cool dreams happening. And anyway, in college, you can do that kind of thing. And maybe in Spain where they have siestas. Inhaling, coming up. Exhaling around and forward. But sometimes dreams are very rich when they're your own sort of symbols and things. It can be kind of nice to tap into. And then inhale and just draw the shoulders up. I really like to do this one because it's nice for immunity, as is all of this. And as it comes achy, little squeeze in the shoulders, and then let it slowly lower down. Letting any sighs or yawns come up, that's just fine. Inhaling, coming up with the shoulders. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And then you exhale, let them slowly down. And as Candace and I brushed on the other week, and then you really let it go. And just letting that happen. You don't make it happen. You let it have time enough to just see if it can happen. And also maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. It doesn't matter. Inhale, we'll draw them up one more time. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Good. And all one breath. Let it out. And let the shoulders be nice and low. Yes?
When you let it go, in order to really let it go, you have to breathe in and out. You can't, you let it all go, but then you have to breathe in and let it go, and breathe in and let it go. A couple
So
more
take extra breaths while you're there. Is that what I'm hearing?
To get totally down, you have to inhale again and exhale, inhale again and exhale. Not lifting your shoulders up, but just feeling the letting go those couple more times.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Kind of getting deeper into that letting go process, those little breaths, or not little breaths, but breaths while the shoulders are low, still letting it release and release each time. I like it. So feeling that and noticing what your body might be wanting to do right now. Is there something that comes up? If you want to do it, do it. My body just came up with this one, which is to crawl the hands forward and just take a forward bend at a comfortable seat here. Breathing into the low back, which is where we can, carry some tension. It's nice to release it every day. No judgment, just notice if it's there, and then you breathe into it and fold forward and see what you can do with a little bit of breath and movement. And then move the hands over to the side. Good. And breathe into that side body. So spacious there. Very nice. Couple more breaths. And then walking the hands forward and then back to the center and back to the second side. And breathe into that side body. Breathe in and breathe out, and letting that and the little stretches you feel along the way in our movement, letting that, just that, be the meditation, the sensation in the body and the breath. Or I should say that slower, the sensation in the body and the breath. Sending the breath there. Good. And coming forward with the arms and the hands. Sometimes we can move around and not really be tuned in. And sometimes it's nice with the breath to tune in a little bit without a whole lot of direct efforting, but just yoking the two together can be very powerful. Good. I'm going to take the hands to the shoulders, draw the elbows together, and take our eagle wings. Inhale, open the elbows up. And exhaling, they come down and touch. Inhale. This is a nice one for uplifting the mood. My teacher used to say, if you know any kids who are, feeling sad, this is a nice one to show them. Draw the elbows together. Inhale, eagle wings, open. And one more time, exhale the elbows together. We'll take it one more time, inhaling. And exhaling down and just let that go. Good. And let's come to our hands and knees and just take our hands and knee rotations. So come to our tabletop position. Yeah. And then take the hips. We inhale. So let's recall just placing the wrists under the shoulders and knees under hips. And then we take the hips around and back toward the heels and around and forward, up and toward center. Good. Inhaling up. Exhaling around and back. Good. Yes, inhaling up. And exhale around and back. Doing a couple more at your own breath pace. And it's so nice. Sometimes you get a little chiropractic adjustment just by moving gently, yeah? Just a little release in the body and the spine. And let's take the other direction, down, around to the other side, back toward the heels. Be really tender and lovely to your knees, which might mean coming back less far. So always listening. Inhaling up. Exhaling around and back. Good. Couple more rounds of breath. Rotating, lubricating the joints. So nice. You could just do this in the day if that's all you have time for. Let's take that tabletop neutral position. Good. And what I want to do is just take a moment to come into our mountain pose, is what my teacher calls it. Everyone else in lots of classes at the gym call it down dog. But my teacher called it mountain pose. And let's tap into that, feeling nice and solid on the earth. So I'm just going to take the hands one hand length in front of me, sort of walk them forward a little bit, curl the toes under, and then draw the navel up toward the spine, hips come up toward the sky, and just gently coming up, let the knees stay bent first. Yeah? So I'm going to come up, but let the knees be bent and draw the navel back toward the spine. Be there for a sec. And then you can lengthen the legs any amount into your mountain pose. Good. And just breathe into that. You can walk the dog if you're thinking of this as down dog, and just pedal the feet side to side, left and right, and look under the opposite shoulder as you do. So right foot, look under the left shoulder, and so on. Pedaling, massaging the feet. Good, and so we're getting a wonderful inversion here, letting the circulation come to the brain and the inner organs. And then just stillness again in that pose. Draw the heels gently toward the floor, but without any striving. Good, and then the knees gently float back to the floor. Come back and rest. Child's pose. You can rest your head on your forehead on stacked palms if you like. And breathe there. So that reverse circulation is so nourishing for the body. It's nourishing for the brain. Good. And then here, I'm going to take a variation into my dolphin pose. So I'm going to clasp the hands at the webbing out in front of me and come up on my elbows, or on my forearms rather. Yeah. And then what I do is I come up with the knees under my hips somewhat. Yeah, in that sort of puppy pose position, curl the toes under, and then take that similar pose, but this time anchored on your forearms. So when you're ready, just draw the navel toward the spine and lift the hips toward the sky. Yeah. And just breathe there, your dolphin pose. You can let the thumbs rise up and touching, and you can sort of rock forward and touch your nose to your thumbs if you want a little extra strengthening. If you don't, just forget it. But touch the thumbs or nose to the thumbs, lift into the shoulders and lengthen back, press back. That's only if it's fun to you. So touch, lift, and lengthen back. Otherwise, you can just stay right where you are, sort of keep it nice and still and steady like a mountain. Both are good. And if you like, one more time, touch, lift up through the shoulders, lengthen back. It's strengthening the shoulder area. Good. And then we let the knees come down and rest. Breathe into the kidneys, into the adrenals that sit on top of the kidneys. In that mid-low back area where our long-term energy is. In the pelvis, as my modern dance teacher would say, the pelvis is the powerhouse. Good, couple more breaths. Really let yourself luxuriate in child's pose sometimes. It's just so nice. You don't have to do the next thing, just be there. So in dolphin pose, I was just showing you, you kind of have your gaze lifted, and as you bring your nose to your thumbs, that naturally happens. And then there's another variation called hare pose, which is just cradling. You clasp your hands, and then you cradle sort of the top or crown of the head in the hands, and you're not in very tight contact with the head and the hands, but it's just loosely supportive there, or nurturing kind of energy, almost like Reiki closeness. Yeah. So I'm just going to come up with knees under hips again, and I have my hands clasped at the webbing. And here, if you just take a look, I'm going to curl the toes under, and this time, if I let the head be cradled by the hands, that means my gaze is toward the floor, or toward the feet, wherever you notice it goes. So inhale, draw the hips up. And this time you look back towards your feet. And depending on your body size. Like my head doesn't touch my hands exactly, but they're just there in this sort of Reiki supportive energy there at the head. And we breathe there. Hair pose. And it's called hair pose because it's your hair. Good. Couple more breaths if you like, and if you're ready to come down before then, that's fine. And very welcome. Good. And then draw the knees back to the floor and release back into child's one more time. We got some lovely inversions in there right then. So yeah, it's nothing fancy. It's not a hare like H-A-R-E. It's not a rabbit pose, but it's just that your hands are near your head. And it helps you remember the pose. Good. And then what I'd like to do is transition here into, let's come to one hip on the floor and just sort of hold ourselves in this sort of side stretch here. And I do this in a dance class, and I believe I've done it in a yoga class too, but I just want to get a little side stretch here. You could come down to your elbow if the side stretch is too strong otherwise. Either way, whichever way your body's ready for at the moment, just get a little stretch. And then we'll come to the other side, however you want to get there. Sometimes I get just such a nice side stretch like this. Breathe into that. Good. So good. Okay, good. And then what I'd like to do is I want to come to my side, and I'm going to cradle my head on my lower arm and lengthen the legs. And what I'm going to do is take an inhale, and I'm going to press into the floor with the hand and let the leg lift up as I press and breathe in. Yeah? And good. And then you release the pressure slowly in the hand and release the foot and leg slowly down. Good. Let's take it again. Inhale, press the palm into the floor. Notice the leg floats up. And your leg doesn't need to come up to it. It just comes up wherever it lands. It doesn't matter how far. Good. And then you slowly release the pressure in the hand. Reassert the pressure if you kind of forgot about it. And then you can let go of the pressure, of that pressing as the leg lowers. Good. Very nice. Now let's notice, and you don't have to have the legs out at a perfectly straight line. You could be in sort of a V shape so that you feel balanced, so that you feel like you can relax where you are, or decompress, as my dance teacher says. So let's try it once without pressing the hand into the floor. The arm can stay where it is, but just without pressing, lift that leg. And notice if it feels, how that feels, whether it's a little more effort is how it feels to me. Yeah? And then exhale, it comes slowly down. So for some reason, the leg feels much heavier there. And let's press the hand again and see how that feels. Press and lift the leg. It almost just floats up by itself, is what they say. Good. And meanwhile, we're getting these wonderful inversions of the leg and circulation into the organs of the body, and just some wonderful things happening while we're tricking ourselves into thinking about how light the leg is. And then the leg comes slowly down as you release the pressure in the hand. Good. Lovely. And now, before we do the other side, I want to bring the back or the top leg over toward the front. Let's see. I'm gonna need to see where, no, it goes in the back. So the foot finds the floor behind you with the knee bent with the top leg. Got it? And then I'm just going to inhale and I sort of press the top hip forward. And you might get a little stretch in the hamstring or just in the hip flexor, just wherever you feel it. And then you exhale, let that come back to neutral. You may just have the ball of the foot on the floor behind you instead of the whole foot. Notice what feels good. Inhale, press the hip forward. Yeah, exhale, it comes back. We don't do this one very often, but it came to mind somehow today. Inhale, press the hip. Good. And exhale, back to neutral. And let that release. Let the leg just go out long for a moment. Breathe in and out. Just pause. Good. So we're getting these lovely movements and circulation in the body with all of these. So I'm going to turn to the other side. You can just roll over. I'm going to switch because then my voice is close to the camera and you can see. Good. So the body is in this long shape, right? Press the hand toward the floor, yeah, in front of your chest. So taking an inhale, press the hand into the floor, float the leg up. Good. And then gently release the slow release of the pressure in the hand brings the leg back down. Nice. We'll take it again. So you're resting your head on your lower arm if that feels comfortable for your neck. Press the hand into the floor. The leg rises up. And then you just gradually release the pressure in the hand so that it mirrors the gradual lowering of the leg. Good. And then we'll take that test drive once where we just lift the leg on its own to just notice the contrast. So we'll just inhale without pressing into the floor with the hand and just lift the leg and notice how that feels. And then you lower it down slowly. Getting some nice strengthening in the hips here, just doing that. Yeah, so just notice, try that again. Just notice if it feels a little heavier to try to do it on its own. Yeah. Kind of kooky, right? And then let's take it, press the hand into the floor one more time with the lift. Inhale, floats it up, press the hand. And exhale, slowly release that pressure and the leg glides back down. Good. So there's that. And then I'm going to lift the upper leg and let the foot find the floor somewhere behind you. And just right doing that, touching the ball of the foot to the floor. On this side, I get a nice stretch in the hamstring just with that. It could be the hip flexor. You just see where it is in your own body. And then draw your hip forward slightly, just small movement, and inhale. Exhale, let it release. Back to neutral. And when I bring my ball of my foot closer to my bum, it seems to get that hamstring stretch, but you want to be real careful and gentle with your knees. So find the balance. Inhale, draw the hip forward. And exhale, the hip comes back. You can also just do legs up the wall if your knees don't want to do this, or some other part of you would rather do something else. Inhale, press forward with the hip. Just one more time here and exhale, let it release back to neutral. I'll take that foot and place it back on top of the leg. Just lengthen both legs. Breathe in and out. Relax, release, decompress. Take a couple little breaths. Like Candace said, they don't have to be little breaths, but a couple breaths doing nothing but breathing, but releasing or noticing the option your body has to give it when you give it time to release. And my teacher used to say, give your body, see what you can relax and release. And if you notice today that some area of your body is still, feeling some tightness, that without judgment, you give that part of your body permission to release when it's ready, whenever that is. But just sort of giving it that sort of loving attention, like, all right, when you're ready, you can let go. I give you permission to do that when that's ready. And my teacher would say that the body loves to be paid attention to. So if you say hello to your toes and your knees and things, that it sort of lights up something. And so let's come to another position on the floor here. I'm going to bend the lower knee this time and press up into sort of that side position we were in quite a bit earlier in that side stretch. Yeah. And so my teacher, this is a pigeon pose, and there's a full pigeon pose, but this one is just as beneficial. You get this side stretch, and you just have that lower leg bent and the other one outstretched, and you just sort of, you can lean over to the side in there and you get a stretch where you feel it. Now, some people in your pigeon pose bring it all the way to the front like this. And a lot of our hips are not really there right this minute. And I love that my teacher showed us this way. So I'm just going to lean to the side in this position. And you can, my teacher would kind of lean on her elbow here. You just sort of lean wherever it feels like a satisfying stretch that you can hold for just a few rounds of breath happily. You can put both hands on the floor and lean over that way. It's just so wonderful to be doing our pigeon pose without having to fold ourselves in half. Sometimes other classes just get you into it a little fast, in my view. But all of my yoga teachers are 80 and 90 and things, so you can tell what my leanings are. I like to do things with a lot of quality and a lot of time and a lot of decompressing and relaxing so that the body can open. And other styles are great too. It's just, what kind of flavor ice cream do you like? What flavor yoga do you like? Oh, wonderful. Good. And then let's take it on the other side. So I'll just come up to center, lengthen that bent leg, bend the other one, and then lean to the side on that side, toward the bent knee, I guess. And if you know the full pigeon pose and want to do it, feel free, but I'm happy here. I just love it. And you get such a nice fold at the thigh crease here. Nice and deepening there. Mm-hmm. And then as you feel like it, you can come down to the elbow there. Yeah, and my teacher would say then you can, scoot the leg back a little further if things open up and sort of rest on both elbows, or rest your body where it feels comfortable. But you don't really have to go further if that's not where you're at right yet today. So play with that. Play with how far you want to come down and hold and breathe. And just send the breath wherever you feel it. You can lean on one elbow, two elbows. And again, we're getting this wonderful side stretch, or at least I am. You might feel it somewhere else. And a couple more breaths, if you like. So good. That's your pigeon pose. Very nice. I'm going to press back up. And let's just come down to the floor. Lay on the back. Take a load off. That's one of my favorite lines from, what's that movie? Raising Arizona, where Nicolas Cage has someone over to his place, and they walk in, and he says to this little kid, like, take a load off. Or it's to maybe his friend. I don't remember to whom, but for some reason I love the take a load off line. So let's do that. Feet on the floor, knees bent, breathe into the belly. And ease any tension out of the low back with that breath. And pardon the telephone in the other room, little technical home sound.
Hi, you've reached Nancy. Go ahead and leave a message.
Someday I'll figure that out. And I'll inhale into the chest and exhale out to tease any tension out of the chest area and the low or the upper back rather. This is such a nice moment for self-care, yeah? Little yoga in our day, in the middle of the day, little breather. And what we do when we take this practice for a little bit in the day is we get to leave our concerns and worries at the door. Things that we need to get to will all be there when we get there later. So we let them go for now and just let the mind focus on these new shapes, which is just lovely. Let's take just a little, a back care moment, and just, I'm going to draw one knee to the chest, and well, let's draw both knees to the chest, shall we? Inhale, draw, take one hand in each, over each knee and just draw it in. Good, and then exhale. Inhale, draw it in. And exhale, release the squeeze, but not the knees. And one more time, breathing in, give yourself a hug. Very good. And then I'm going to keep the hands clasped over the left knee and let the right foot find the floor. Keep that knee bent if you like, or you can let it go out long. Your choice. And let's just lengthen the left heel up toward the sky. Low back care here. The hamstring stretch helps the low back release. Yeah, and then bend the knee, draw that knee to the chest again. We'll take a couple dynamic ones first so that there's always movement and not too much strain or holding. Inhale. Lift the heel toward the sky, flex the foot, release the back of the leg. Instead of just stretching it, see if you can release it, sort of like a billow of a sail. And you could clasp the hands behind the thigh or hold on to the sweatpants, whatever you can reach. Tip the toes toward the nose and breathe into that. Good. And then bend the knee, draw the knee to the chest once more. Inhale that. Good. And then draw that leg up one more time. reach through the heel on the inhale. Exhaling, that thigh bone comes down nice toward the earth, nice and heavy. Grounded in the pelvis toward that earth. You could imagine doing it on this nice warm sand somewhere in the beach. If that floats your boat, and just breathe in, reach through the heel, exhale down through the femur toward the floor. Getting a nice opening, nice stretch in the hamstrings, and nice release in the low back is the sort of side effect of that. Nice bend the knee, let it come back toward the chest if you like, and then gently the left foot finds the floor, knee bent. We'll take the second side. So inhale, draw the knee toward the chest. That right knee this time, I have the hands both clasped over that right knee. Good. And draw it in again. And I'm going to release the leg up, extend it, clasp the hands around the back of the thigh, reach through the heel up toward the sky. This is one that sometimes I don't get around to in my own practice at home, even though I love it. So it's nice to do it with you all. It's amazing what a little community can get going, just some nice things. Draw the knee back to the chest. Let's make it short and dynamic so the body can kind of acclimate to it. Draw the knee to the chest, and then inhale, heel up to the sky. Reach. Exhale down through the thigh bone toward the floor. Good. Bend the knee, draw it back in toward the chest. Good. One more. If you like, lengthen that leg, extended. Heel, reach, inhale. Exhale down through the femur bone, down toward the earth. Nice and heavy. Relaxed and released there, letting gravity do its job. Good. Very nice. And then I'm just going to draw that knee back toward the chest, give it a squeeze. And let that foot gently find the floor. Let's take some windshield wipers if you'd like. I'm going to exhale to one side. Inhale, center. Exhale to the other side. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, side. Inhale, up to the middle. Exhale to the side. And just taking a few rounds of that in your own breath pace. And letting that be the meditation of the moment. The breath and the movement and the sensations. Inhale, center. Exhale, side. And the knees don't come down all the way, just a gentle amount to the side wherever they go. And center, exhale, other side. Keep it small at first, and then if it opens up, it opens up. And if it doesn't, that's okay. We just keep doing it. Our yoga is like drip therapy, my teacher would say. It's nice and gradual when you're consistent with it. And it has a nice sort of depth of benefit. Nice and steady wins the race on that philosophy. Inhaling up, exhaling to the side, inhaling center, exhale other side. That's in one of the Yoga Sutras, is now yoga. which means now, right now, whatever you're doing, whether you're doing the practice or not, is your yoga. Whatever you're doing is your yoga. And the other meaning of now yoga is you have to do the yoga in order for the yoga to work for you. Inhaling center, exhaling to the side. And the other yoga sutra, so just a few more in your own breath pace. The other yoga sutra is that yoga is the cessation of the whirlwinds of the mind. Inhaling and exhaling here. Nice side to side with the knees. And noticing how you feel. Or letting the mind wander, whichever you like. Just a few more rounds of that. Good. And then when you feel complete, you can let that just sort of relax in the center. Release into the center. Good. And let's take just a gentle twist. I'm going to take the shins parallel to the ceiling. So that means I've lifted my feet off of the floor. Knees bent at somewhat of a right angle. And then I let myself have my arms in a T position and just rock over toward the left. You can rest the left hand on the knees. And you can look over your other shoulder if you like, or just keep the head straight on the spine. Getting a nice, gentle twist. Like wringing out the washcloth. Breathing there. You can prop the knees up with a pillow if they're feeling like they'd need or that they'd enjoy some support so that your knees can come closer together over toward the side, if that makes sense. Just throw a pillow from the couch underneath there and that would feel nice. Sometimes you might find that you can lay there for 5 minutes and get a spinal twist in a restorative sort of sense. Good, and then draw back from the right kidney. One knee comes up and then the other. And then I'm going to take the hips. I'm going to make room so that I can bring the legs to the other side, depending on your space at home. So the shins, once again, are parallel to the floor and the ceiling. And then I let the knees rock gently over toward the right. With the arms out to the sides to support. Breathe there. You can look over the opposite shoulder if it feels accessible. And if it doesn't feel great, you just let the head be straight on the spine. Breathing there. So this is that wonderful squeeze and soak method of cleansing the organs. As we release from the twist in a moment, all these fresh nutrients and fluids can bathe the organs and replenish our energy and our just a sort of fresh supply. Good. So again, just draw back from the left kidney. One knee rocks up and then the other. And maybe give yourself a hug while you're there. Good. Nice. And then I'm just going to roll to my side, take a couple breaths there. I'm going to start the process of sitting up. If you want to stay laying down and take a siesta, please feel free. And if you're feeling called to move or get up soon, you can take a couple breaths on your side, cradle your head with your lower arm. And as you're ready, just let the torso sort of, let the navel rock toward the floor. So let it face the floor somewhat so that you can get your hands beneath you. And then you press the hands into the earth as you roll on up to a seat. Head is heavy, comes up last. And let's just get used to sitting upright again if that's where you are. If you're on the floor, just let my voice roll on by. You can just let the video go on while you let yourself release into the floor. Good. I'm just going to, there was some quote I wanted to read. It says, "The moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. All sorts of things occur to help one that would never otherwise have occurred. A whole stream of events issues from the decision which no one could have dreamed would have come their way." W.H. Murray. So just taking a moment to breathe, sitting upright, breathe into the nice long spine, and I'll take myself in a circle with the torso a few rounds, inhaling up to the center, exhaling around, just a few in each direction. Bringing the energy up from that powerhouse from the pelvis and gradually up the spine with the shoulders and the head rotations is the idea. Inhale in the center and change directions with the torso. Still inhaling up and exhaling around and gently forward. Good, and choosing an inhalation to come up and stay up. Nice, and then we inhale, let the shoulders come around. And down. And up. They come in around and down. Inhaling up. And exhaling, let them release. Changing directions when you're ready. Inhaling, they come up. Circle around. Trace that elegant circle or ellipse shape with the rotation. Inhaling up. Glide around the solar system with those beautiful elliptical pathways with your shoulders. Inhaling up. Exhaling around and down. Maybe it could help you feel agile like that painting that we saw from Candace, that muscular sort of grace. So nice. Let the shoulders come up and around. Let them on an exhale come down and stay nice and low and relaxed. And then we inhale so that the head can come around and forward. A couple times. Around, and then we inhale to the center, exhaling around the other way. And gratitude to yourself. Inhale up to the head comes up to pause and stay up. In gratitude to yourself for carving out some time for some lovely yoga. Inhale, draw the hands away from yourself, let the palms face up. Exhaling, palms together at the front of the heart. And may we live like the lotus at home in the muddy waters. Thank you. Cheers, everyone. That's class. I'm so glad to see you all.
Nancy, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Global question. I need to buy a yoga mat. My floors are slippery, so the towel isn't working.
Uh-huh.
Thinner, thicker, what?
That is a good question. I might text you the answer to that. I'm trying to think of the brands that if you want an extra thicker one, that would be different than just a regular yoga mat. Yeah.
Right.
That's a really good question.
Okay.
I'm going to
Oh.
think of that. I'll email all of you and just let you, or, if anyone's interested in that. I'm honestly relaxed enough that that side of my brain's not working.
And I splurted it out because I'm slipping and sliding on the floor, but it doesn't need to be now. Thank you.
Oh, I would love to answer that though. Yeah. The name of it is, I'm just trying to think of the name of it and it'll come to me later.
Yeah, no, not now. Relax, enjoy.
Gaia? Is it Gaia?
Gaia's a nice brand. I have one that's made with some hemp woven in, which has got some nice grip to it without being all plastic. Gaia is nice, and I can't think of the name of mine right now, but I know I'll think of it soon.
It's fine.
Yeah, I know.
Uh-oh.
Anyway,
Gotcha.
it's a good question. Drink
Okay.
water, take care of yourselves, have a really good rest of your afternoon. And
Happy weekend.
yes, have sweet dreams. Eat some sweet.
In the afternoon.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Ciao. Oh, no.